This is ChangeMakers with Katie Gore, finding the right solutions for the affordable housing community.
Welcome back to part 2 of my discussion with a couple of changemakers from the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix. Cindy Stotler, the director of the City of Phoenix's Housing Department, and Sheree Bouchee, the affordable housing advocate for the City of Phoenix. You know, I've been coming to Phoenix for probably 30 years now, and I've really seen the whole county change over that time. And just as Cindy, you were describing earlier, and, the homeless population, has a unique need and a unique dynamic to it. But I know the city has started implementing, and they have been for a couple of years, some strategies to provide assistance.
Yeah, we have a number of things that we're doing to address the homeless situation, and it's pretty much what a lot of communities are doing. We're focusing our efforts on a regional continuum of care. So the Maricopa County, which is our largest county and includes Phoenix and all the valley cities, manages our continuum of care. So they are a central hub for the homeless, and they take them in, do intake, and put them in the system, and then try to find housing for them out of that. So we access that continuum of care database in order to place folks in rapid rehousing. We put a lot of money into rapid rehousing, a lot of money into permanent supportive housing. Almost every year, we have one or two low-income housing tax credit projects approved for more permanent supportive housing for chronically homeless and for veterans homelessness. The City of Phoenix Housing Department, has been putting our veterans assisted supportive housing vouchers out there lately in the last 2 years to hopefully spur more production of affordable housing specific for veterans, homeless veterans. So we've put out, I think, at least 100 of our VASH vouchers to spur some of that, because with the overall housing shortage we've been talking about, it's really hard for our Section 8 customers to find housing. And Quadel's done a fantastic job of landlord outreach and trying to figure out as much as possible, streamlining processes and all the things you've done to encourage landlords to participate in the program. But if we're in a housing shortage and they can rent to whoever they want and get whatever rent they want, it's going to be really difficult to place our Section 8 vouchers. So we're just trying to take every measure that we can to try to create more housing that's specifically for the homeless and the chronically homeless, and work with our partners to expand their shelter services. And most recently, with the CARES Act funding, we jumped on the bandwagon to find hotels that were vacant. So a lot of communities are doing this across the nation. I'm aware of that. We found a vacant hotel that we could rent up 100% of the units for a year. So we did that, and we're putting the vulnerable population out of the central shelter down in downtown Phoenix and putting them into this hotel, trying to get them a permanent situation while they're in that hotel.
That is a lot. One of the upsides of this, you talk about the COVID funding and the CARES Act. One of the upsides, if we can even say that, I don't know if we can say an upside of the COVID era, but people in organizations like yours, you guys have really had to be creative and find these alternative ways of either providing basic services or partnered with the Maricopa County Department of Health for your seniors. We've talked about homeless now, we've talked about veterans, and talk to us now what you guys are doing in the senior living space.
We have senior public housing properties, a number of senior public housing properties in Phoenix Housing. And we've had our caseworkers have been working overtime, just contacting all the seniors pretty constantly to make sure they're okay, to help them connect with services that they need when they, we had the stay-at-home order in March. And even now, a lot of them are afraid to go out and go anywhere. So we help them with, if they need food boxes from the food banks, we help them with that. We set them up for food delivery from the grocery stores. We've helped them with telemedicine. If they don't have a device, we have we have computers down in lobbies sometimes, and we'll make appointments for them and help walk through on telemedicine. We're helping them get an email address and try to figure out how to do Zoom calls and other things so they can connect with their family. So we've been working really hard just to care for our seniors. I've also been able to use some of the COVID funds that we received from HUD through the CARES Act to provide on-site COVID testing for the seniors so that they don't have to drive anywhere and stand in line and wait. We actually bring the testing to them. So we've gone to all of our senior sites once already, and we're probably going to start going around again, testing for COVID. We provided them with masks, hand sanitizer. We're doing extra cleaning, all the things that we need to do for the CTC guidelines. But just really trying to connect with them, make sure that they have a connection. If they don't have any family, they're at least connecting with us every once in a while just to see what they need and that they're still a part of this society. A lot of people are feeling lonely and left out. So I want to make sure that they have some kind of connection.
You guys are definitely being very aggressive and, I think very responsive to the community. And the public housing space can be such a, focus on the physical needs and the capital needs. But we often, in the middle of a crisis like this, we have to incorporate the human need and we have to, look at the full picture of providing housing, right? And you guys have a great approach to this. You guys are doing an excellent job. And I know that other communities, who probably aren't as mobilized as you guys are still trying to sit back and say, okay, now what can we do? So I appreciate you guys sharing all of the tangible things that you guys are doing. So, I want to personally ask you guys, because both Sheree and Cindy, you guys have such a dedicated approach to hear what you're doing. And, how did you guys get started working on affordable housing? Sheree, you want to go first?
I began as an intern at the city of Flagstaff. I went to Northern Arizona University and I was an intern in their housing department. And that's how I caught the housing bug. And I've been working with different municipalities for the last 13 years, helping with different housing programs and projects. And finally, this has been my favorite project since I started my career, is to actually be able to research and come up with new programs and new ways we can address the housing shortage. So I'm happy to be in the field, and that's how I got started in it.
I'm actually an accountant by education. I started with the city as a tax audit intern way back when and kind of worked my way up through 5 city departments. But I just found, after a couple years, I found that I loved public service. I love the fact that, no matter what department I work in the city, we are touching people's lives directly. We are picking up your trash. We're taking care of your parks. We're fixing your streets and your potholes. We're answering your service calls. I worked in the police department and I love that mission. I worked in the planning and development department just prior to coming to housing, and I loved that mission too. Building safety and planning for a beautiful city. I just love serving the residents of the city and the fact that we can improve people's lives through what we do at the city. But like Sheree, once I came to the housing department in 2015 as the director and started learning what we do here, I got the housing bug too. It's so gratifying to be able to help the lowest income people and especially the kids. Giving them our summer kids programs, our after school tutoring programs. Giving them the tools that they need to succeed and seeing them get into college. And we had one accepted to Princeton on a full ride scholarship this year, and we were all, had a party and celebrated. It's rewarding and it's work that needs to be done, but it just makes us all feel like we're actually making a difference.
And, I ask several people on the podcast how they've gotten into housing because it's so unique to see the path that people have come. But there's also some trending data that talks about the workforce of practitioners in housing and how several people got in early and that you're starting to see people leaving. And so I asked this question because, I want so many people to realize the benefits. It can be such an analytical position and role, but it's also got this unique social service piece to it as well. So, and you described exactly that. But, we'd like to see more people getting into the field, but it's got to be the right people, right? You've got to have the right kind of mindset and heart to do this type of work. So, you guys are in a great city and you have so many attributes, and affordable housing is going to just make the city of Phoenix even stronger as you guys keep leaping forward. And would you have ever guessed that Phoenix was the 5th largest growing city in the nation? I mean, did you see that trend coming?
No, Phoenix always felt like a small city. It's a young city, and it's always felt like a small city, and it doesn't feel like Philadelphia. Philadelphia is a big city. I can't believe we just beat out Philadelphia. It doesn't feel like that.
And you've got a lot of economic boom. You've got a lot of businesses who are moving to Phoenix, people retiring, people traveling, or whatever the reason. But, that affordability has been such an attribute of Phoenix. You don't want to lose that. And so it's so important what you guys are doing in this space and how you're doing it. One of the other things I wanted to mention is that your program, the City of Phoenix's housing programs, you guys have been recently awarded a national NARO award for excellence, and that was through some owner open house and rapid response days that you guys conducted. And you've also received the CMAP Highest Performer Award. That is through a lot of efforts and a lot of partnering. So give us an idea on how you guys just work together within Maricopa County, because that's also one of the strengths of the city, is how embraced you are within the full metropolitan area.
Yeah, thanks, Katie, for that. And I have to give a lot of the kudos to Quadell, who runs our Section 8 program. Came in with, a can-do attitude, and everything we ask them to do, they do. You all do. And landlord outreach was one of the things that we've always stressed, and especially in the last couple of years with the affordable housing crisis we're having. It's actually your staff at Quadell that came up with the really cool open house landlord engagement idea. And I and my staff in Phoenix Housing are on a lot of calls, at least monthly, with other Valley public housing authorities and housing agencies and the Maricopa County Public Housing Authority, because we do talk to each other all the time. We're connected. All of our borders are connected. Our residents move across the borders all the time. So we really need to know what's going on in each jurisdiction. And we talked about this landlord open house, and a number of them, once they heard about it, wanted to participate, because a lot of them are very small and they don't have the resources that we do. And so sometimes it's better to do joint large events like that, so we can get landlords from across the city, right, and across the valley to participate. And so they understand that how many housing authorities are out there and how many vouchers that are available. So it's a wonderful thing that we have here in the valley, that we've always been cooperative across the borders. We do that with the homeless. We do that with transportation. The light rail goes across many cities and things like that. We always try to work together to better, the whole valley and the residents that are here. So yeah, I want to thank Quadell for coming in and getting the highest performance CMAP, because they brought in really, really good systems. Quadell is more systematic than I think my old Section 8 staff was before we contracted it out. We were a little more haphazard. We had policies and things like that, but we weren't as structured as the Quadell system is. And it's really put a really good program together that, is responsive and obviously meets, all of the highest criteria of HUD. And then you've also had some really good ideas like the landlord outreach. And I think there's some new things coming out with the COVID funds as well, like a mass messaging system, which is really cool, and some electronic options for applications and inspections and things like that. So we're just really happy to partner with you, because you think like us. We try to be innovative at the City of Phoenix. We like to be creative and innovative and, out front on new ideas. And Quadell's jumped in and been exactly what we wanted, and you fit right in.
Well, thank you for that. It's sure been a great partnership, and it's been a pleasure working with you. So tell us, as we wrap up here, how can people access the Housing Phoenix plan? Where can they find it?
So we recently posted on our Phoenix newsroom the release of the final Housing Phoenix plan. And on that article, what you'll see is a link to the final Housing Phoenix plan. So it's open for anyone to review, and has a lot of great data about our community and our community's needs, and as well as going into details about the 9 policy initiatives. We will be continuing our outreach, so as we start to implement the different initiatives, we'll be reaching out to the community and getting their feedback on those initiatives for the Housing Phoenix plan.
If you need to find anything to do with the Phoenix Housing Department, you can go on phoenix.gov/housing. So the Housing Phoenix plan will be on our website there, as will information about all the programs I spoke about, the homeless programs, the Choice Neighborhoods programs, and other things.
Fantastic. Thank you to both of you, and we wish you best of luck in preserving and expanding affordable housing there in Phoenix.
Thank you for having us on today.
Thanks for listening to ChangeMakers with Katie Gore. To find out more about Katie, go to quadell.com. That's QUADEL.com. This has been a production of Forbes Books Radio.